Insights. I am Wendell Jeffrey. Thanks for joining us. As we come down to this elections, we are open to interviewing anybody from any political persuasion or party. Just contact our office. This evening in the studio, we have two distinguished young people, Miss Mischka White and Kofi Dalrymple. We'll have a talk with them as we go through the paces. So without any further ado, let me welcome them formally to the studios and on the set. How are you doing, Mischka? Mischka, right?
Correct.
Correct. Kofi? Nice. Okay, good. Good to have you guys, young and fresh. So I'll begin with you, Mischka. Just look in the camera and tell my audience a brief something about yourself that you think they don't know about you.
I'm Guyanese. I am a Guyanese like everyone else who is here. I have spent my entire adult life in the field of education.
Okay.
So my passion is education, youth development, and also the empowerment of women.
Okay.
I've done a lot of work.
I'll get you comfortable just now.
All right.
Kofi, take a moment and tell the folks something that you think they don't know about you.
Oh, well, they probably don't know a lot of things about me. First, thanks for having me on the program. I'm a young man who grew up on the West Coast of Demerara. I was born in Denhamstel, grew up in Stewartville. And I think I had a very typical childhood, running around the neighborhood, making bush cook, climbing fruit trees and eating everything. I still love mangoes. So, but I think I had some good opportunities and some good guidance. My mother's an engineer and sort of steered me into being an engineer. There's a whole story about how that happened, but I have a lot of respect and love for my mother and father, who played a huge role. And so I was able to, go to school at St. Stanislaus College, go to the university, get some scholarships to go on and study at the University of the West Indies. And we could talk about some of that because I think it's important to how we do things in Guyana. And then a good opportunity to get a PhD at a very young age in engineering and gain some experience. And maybe one of the things that people don't know is I've worked overseas in the Midwest, and I actually prefer snow over heat.
Sound like my wife.
And so that's a different story. But I've had some good experiences over time, and I'm hoping that we can discuss that and make it use it for the country.
Sure. Right? So you see, he's comfortable, Mischka. So when you say education, Mischka, what's are you teaching? You professing? Where are you now?
I actually touch from early childhood all the way to university.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I am a primary school principal with responsibilities of primary, nursery, and special education.
Wow.
And I also lecture to master students who are pursuing their masters in education leadership,
Wow.
as well as specialization in special education.
Wow.
And I also part-time lecture at the University of Guyana.
Very loaded.
So when I say
Good.
education is my passion,
Yes.
education truly is my passion.
Good. So you're here particularly representing or on behalf of, you can correct me, the People's Progressive Party.
Correct.
That is correct.
And you're young, educated. What attracted you to the People's Progressive Party? I'm going to start with you, Dr. Dalrymple.
Yeah, well, so I'm currently the Dean for the Faculty of Engineering and Technology. And I've been an engineer for a number of years. There were a number of things that attracted me to the party. As a matter of fact, in many ways, I think that in this election, the PPP stands out as a party that has made promises that they've kept. I look at the pace of development, not only the rate at which development is going, but sort of the deliberate attempt to balance how we grow as a country and how we produce as a country. We have to balance those sorts of things. And I see a kind of level of skill and adeptness and in the approach to how we manage a country. This is a serious thing.
Let me interject. Because you speak like a true politician. I wanted to know the attraction.
Right,
Not
right.
what caused you to stay with them, not what caused you to get involved, but what was the initial attraction to the PPP party? I'm coming to you, Mischka. I just want him to see if he can reassert himself, or what you were telling me was the attraction.
Yeah, this is the attraction. I think I see a party that is skilled in managing the affairs of the country. That's attractive to me. But also the president is someone I've actually known outside of politics.
We're going to come to the president.
Okay, yeah,
we'll come to the president.
but I think his role and the way he leads is also, I think, attractive. Because I think in this time, right, we have seen a number of people decide, you know what, maybe I wasn't in politics, maybe I didn't think much about this party, but Irfan Ali changes my view.
I'm going to come to that. I'm going to come to that because I have a trick question.
Okay.
I have a trick question that I'm going to ask about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Mischka, tell me what's your initial attraction to the party?
It goes back a few years,
Okay.
and I use years figuratively, with a seed planted in me by my grandfather. Yes, you see? My grandfather was a supporter of the PPP's party.
Okay.
And when he was preparing to move to the other life, he said, when you are older, you will get a call for this country. And when you get that call, you will go to the PPP party. My attraction to the party is the fact that it's people-centered. They are open, they listen, and you can see that in everything that the party does. Looking at, just as Kofi was saying, the track record speaks for itself.
Correct.
And if you are truly interested in loving your country, if you are truly a Guyanese, you would want to be a part of that movement, taking Guyana into the 22nd century. We can stand and wait, or we can work hard and leapfrog. And I'm voting for the leapfrog. I want my children, and while I'm alive as well, I want every Guyanese to enjoy a better life. And we are at that crossroad now, where what we do will determine everything.
Is she got comfortable?
Yeah, I know. and she picked up on something. She jumped in on something that I think is really good. One of my attractions to the party is also part. We were talking about the history, about what it represented. You know, I'm a student of history, and I think what the PPP represented in the 1950s, starting there, I still think that today this is the most diverse and most experienced party, people-centered, as you have said, that can lead the country. Many other splinters often talk about specific groups or one group or this kind of focus and that kind of focus, but I've always been attracted to the notion that this party in its genesis was focused on grassroots people and focused on everybody.
And you think it has remained like that?
And I think it has remained. I think at its core, now our history has, you know, everyone understands our history, there are things that have broken us apart, but I think at the core of the party, particularly now, as you begin to see people join and rally around the party, when you go out to different meetings and you look into the audience, you begin to see that. I like to talk about a vision, a dream that was once Guyana, you know, kind of this fragile dream like Marcus Aurelius' dream that if you whispered it, it would disappear. I see it again. I see elements of that togetherness. I see elements of different people from different backgrounds, different educational backgrounds coming together. I think we're there again.
You know, the proverbial retort to how you guys sound is that you drink the Kool-Aid. And then you hook, line, and sinker. You're very passionate. But so let me ask one of the trick questions that I promised, and you'll get a chance. I'll go first to Kofi. People speak, and I get calls from North America, family members. Only today I got a call from a family member who said to me that he thinks that Irfan, Dr. Ali, is the right man for this time.
Yeah.
He's going into his second term.
Yes.
In a constitution that only allows for 2 terms.
Yes.
If you speak about him in such a magnanimous way, are you not likely complicating it for who will come after him as a matter of the Constitution? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to talk? It's a trick question, but just see if you can speak.
You think we're? How do we speak of the next person?
Yeah,
who will fill those shoes?
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you paint him as who he is, and it's obvious. And I'm just asking you this question because that's the word on the street.
Correct.
So now I get a chance to put you on the spot live.
I don't think we are. I think that Guyana has talented young people. Mm-hmm. And I think many of them in the past have stayed away from politics. And I'm very happy that Dr. Ali stayed in politics. I think he's inspiring a whole new generation of young people mm-hmm. who are going to look at that and want to surpass that. Right? It's kind of like, I think he's setting, sort of like how, Dr. Jagan had set a standard. I'm sure many people looked at Dr. Jagan and said, who would go beyond Dr. Jagan, as you would imagine? Mm-hmm. And we've seen other presidents, even though he's held in a particular light as a founder, I think we've still seen folks like Dr. Bart Jagdios come and assert his own kind, not Chetty's role, mm-hmm. but his own role. He carved out his own space on the canvas. Okay. And I think Irfan's doing the same thing, okay. right, in his own way. I don't think it's competitive. I don't think we need folks to think about how we compete against the next Irfan. And you use the right word. He's the right president for this time. Mm-hmm. The question, who is going to be the right president for the next time? Because the time is changing. I think there are people in our country, Guyanese are talented. I have confidence in young people. I think someone will rise to the challenge.
Let me give Mischka a chance to take a jab at that, a stab at the question.
No, the same thing. The timing. If you look at the history of all countries, at different points in time, the right president emerges
Correct.
to take the people through that period. So when the second term is finished and that manifesto is fulfilled, visually and systems, procedures, Guyana will be a completely different country. Mm-hmm. And that next leader is already being prepared, whoever he is or she is.
Yeah,
is already being prepared mm-hmm. because that is going to be the leader of the AI phase of the world.
So let's ask.
Wants to start an AI president?
No, not an AI president. Definitely not.
I like that. I like that. So let me ask. You guys are intelligent, and as you go around your personal lives, you have friends and family. Have you ever thought of supporting another party? And if yes, why? And if no, why not? I'll start with you, Mischka.
To be honest, I grew up in a home where, as I said, my grandfather was a PPP supporter. My grandmother was the other side of the field. She was a staunch PNC supporter.
Okay.
But the political conflict as to the two not getting along, that did not exist in the household. Politics was not really known to me until later. 1992 was my first experience in high school with the change in government. I was initially attracted to the AFC. I thought a new third force coming in could be different, because sometimes politics needs a little shake-up. But it brings you right back home in terms of a party that sticks to their word, a party that delivers on promises.
So you were disappointed by the AFC?
I was.
Okay.
I was. Opposition government, having a strong government is important. Also having a strong opposition is equally important because the government has the function to work for the
You remember
people.
when you got disappointed? Is there a causative factor? I'll come back to you. I'm trying to have a soft conversation. I don't want to put on my journalistic hat and needle you too much. And then first time I'm interviewing you too, I want you to come back, and next time I'll be a little more thing. So Kofi, go ahead. Yeah, have you ever thought of supporting another person?
Yeah, so my father was a political activist during the PNC days. but he was a WPA. He was a Rodneyite. And so when I was growing up, I actually used to go with him to the islands and stuff and share a day clean. I remember those days we would have 5-finger juice and biscuit and butter, right? And we're going around. My other brothers and I would go around with that. So, and I always liked what Dr. Rodney represented, as an individual and as an icon for the country, specifically about how we should come together as a people. And that's always attracted me, the unification of the country. And he was at a particular time. And I understood the politics then because my father spoke a lot about it. In some ways, he's sort of a political mentor in that sense, though I myself didn't venture into the politics. So naturally, as I was growing, I thought about, the WPA as a party, as a young man, and whether I would support that party. Well, that's not a party anymore. So things have don't let the folks things have fizzled out. I said what I said. Things have fizzled out, and so I think it's a very different kind of party than what it used to be. But since you asked the question, just growing up, that would have been another party that I would have given some thought to at another time.
All right. Okay, so let's talk a little more about Dr. The President, Dr. Irfan Ali. How pivotal is his candidacy to your enthusiasm of being associated with the party at this point? What about him?
Yeah.
So go ahead, Mischka.
He is not only energetic and charismatic, he is very people-centered. He makes a connection with the people. Our first interaction, I felt as if I knew him all the time. Comfortable. And he remembers, he generally cares about the people. And that is a nice, refreshing president. And the fact that when he says he will do something, he does it. And loyalty and commitment is very important.
Beautiful.
I love his energy.
Beautiful.
So truth be told, Irfan is really a childhood friend of mine.
Okay.
I think everyone knows this. I talked about it. We went to high school together. And if anybody knows anything about high school years in this country, it forges friendships that last for a long time. And it does so beyond all boundaries that we know.
Yeah.
We've talked about stories about, sharing winter fresh or, breaking it up into 6 parts or lemonade that's passed around. Everyone's getting a drink and we travel every day going back and forth on the West Coast. So in many ways, I knew the man before he became what he is today. We were on the debating team, for example, at school, and we debated against Queens in 1995 in front of Dr. Jagan, and we won. And so that's in the archives and in history, and it's something. It's a bond that we share,
Wow.
From that time.
Wow.
But since then, Irfan's always been interested in people, right? When I'm on the campaign trail, I tell people of the story about us going to Waller's Delight, doing our geography SBA together, and looking at squatting, and his concern about housing and poverty. And I always tell people, you can't fake teenage passion. You can become a politician and you can fake things, but at 16 and 15 and 14, when you're passionate about something, it's raw, genuine passion. And I see that same passion on the campaign trail today.
Yeah.
So when we were there, since then, he was interested in people, interested in solving problems for people. So this goes way back. And so when I see him on the trail now and the way that he gives of himself to people and the way that he gives of himself to the country.
You can identify with
Yeah, this isn't something that is new. This is something that I can identify with. It's something that we shared in our childhood. I know his parents. We lived on the West Coast. So yeah, I've got to say that's important to me, and we've remained friends throughout the years, right, all this time. And so, yes, that's important. But I also think beyond Irfan, the party has grown and really weathered storms, right? As I said, you can't divorce the PPP from its history, from 1950 to what it is today, and being out of government for so long and continuing to fight for democracy and so many things when we were in a bad shape during this country. A party that stayed alive, and even now when we're in a campaign trail, you talk to people and you see of their devotion and how what this party means to them, and how it is given to people. Not just, and I think I gotta say this, it's not just their impact when they're in power. This is a party that's connected to people even when it was out of power.
Okay.
And I think that's powerful. So when I have conversations with people about whether it's Christmas time or Easter, or how this party is present in the lives of people, really tells you they understand how to build community.
I'm being real nice and generous with you.
And nice, yeah.
I'm being nice and generous with you. Because the question wasn't with the party. I
know.
I like your passion. I find it funny how Dr. Irfan dances. I look at those videos over and over. Now, somebody must have told him, you need some lessons in dancing. But he wouldn't take any, and he shouldn't.
But why?
Because he has a unique way of dancing. Nobody can dance like him.
Dancing is
And
free-form
exactly.
expression, though.
No, I just
telling you how to pay.
And he danced to everything. It's so funny. As a family, we just look at those videos.
Yeah.
I like how he connects with people. They always flying by very quickly with midway. Let me ask. They had a manifesto rollout yesterday. I'll ask each of you to tell me at the top of your mind 2 things, you can elaborate on more, that jump out at you from the manifesto as you envision the PPP for the next 5 years. Mischka, go ahead.
Oh, wow.
Go ahead.
So,
yeah,
I can go.
Go ahead.
The first thing for me, obviously, I will speak about education.
Okay.
And I will speak about education because of 3 things that I'm seeing happening right now. A few weeks ago, there was goal graduation at the cultural center. And at that graduation, you had hundreds of people graduating, but you also had mothers and their children graduating. Because that mother could not further her studies before. All of her resources, she would have diverted to her children. Now she had the opportunity through goal to pursue her dream, and she was able to do that while also supporting her child. So the child is getting the first degree, the mother is getting the first degree, they study together. Look at that relationship that happened right there. Now both daughter and mother, their dreams are going to be realized. A whole new world immediately is opened to not just one household, but now 2 households.
So scholarship is one
right?
one of the
So the
things.
scholarships are very important because it gives access to higher education to persons who would not have been able to afford it before. Sticking also with education, when we look at people are talking about the cash grants and they should not have cash grants. But the cash grants are there again to help the poorer persons, so that their children can also have that better life.
Okay.
And it should not wait until we're 50, 60 years of age to now sit down and say, oh, we are now going to enjoy life.
Okay.
Life needs to happen now, in the present.
Enjoyment.
And it needs to happen as we are working.
All right.
Right.
So education is top of your mind with the manifesto.
Education is top of my mind.
I know you'll think of something else. I'll come back to you. Go
Don't
ahead.
need to think.
2 things to me. As an engineer,
Yes.
so I'm a civil engineer by training, an environmentalist by practice. I study natural resource management, matters of climate change, studying floods, sea defenses, how we need to adapt, and then became a biotech engineer, working in pharmaceutical companies and designing them overall. Infrastructure and future. That's I think when I listened yesterday, I started to imagine the Guyana that maybe our foreparents dreamt of. A futuristic Guyana. And the sort of infrastructure that we need to build out to really shape the country. That jumped out at me. And I think that that's important in terms of laying the foundation, and no pun intended, for how the country is going to grow in the future. Things like both digital and also physical infrastructure. And I think even when the president said yesterday, I don't think people understand yet what the future infrastructure has to look like and how we get the opportunity to shape that with our mind now about sustainability. So I'm excited about how are we going to develop infrastructurally and still take things like climate change and sustainability into account, right? And I think we've got the right team with Dr. Jagdeo and so many others to be able to do that, right? So that's one of the first things that jumped out. Second thing is the family.
The family.
The family. I think this party gets it when it comes to family. This election is not just about the, how much money is in our pocket. Yes, but it's about the future of our children, right? And you just spoke to a little bit. It's who has the better plan come September 1st to allow my child to succeed in this country. And I think the party, and I went to some of the consultations for the manifesto, and I think they get it about what needs to happen in family. Family is the most fundamental unit. I told a group yesterday, I said, most families break up not because the man and woman may go outside, but because of money. Money is a big argument in family. And the way that the party and the government has decided to ensure that money is infused into family from the time a child is born. Children of school-age children, right? You can start to add it up. When I did the math, it's over $100,000 a month going into a family from childbirth to we care cash grants, right? To the payment for CXE subjects,
eye testing, all
the health vouchers and everything, but then also free university. Yeah. And it used to cost $2+ million. If you try to do medicine, you're looking at upwards of maybe $3.5 million, right? In the United States, when you leave, as they say, college, you got your 200, yes. Right? It's millions of dollars in Guyana dollars in debt. A Guyanese child is going to leave the university debt-free and ready for a job, ready to get a house
with any subject matter.
That's what I'm saying. And so to me, that focus on how we build families, and it's little things like the child care that we're putting into plan, start looking at vehicles that family use and reducing the taxes on that, right? Looking at families that struggle with children who have disabilities. I think that focus on families is important, and I really like that they brought it back to the central unit of the family.
You want to take another stab at something that jumps out at you? Okay, so let me do this now. Let me give you a chance to be a politician again. And let me ask you, what do you see as detrimental for the country if the PPP does not win? So you tell me of all the positive things.
I'm going to let her start.
But but you here representing the PPP, and you so do you see any harm for the country? Go ahead.
We only have to look back to 2015. Yes? We're at a point where we have the potential to literally transform, and we're seeing the transformation happening now in relation to infrastructure and other systems that are being put in place that needs to continue for every Guyanese to benefit. If things should change, will those plans continue? We would have seen before, when the government changed before in that previous election, systems and money was left for specific purposes, and they were not delivered to people. The previous government would have made all sorts of promises, and they did not honor that. The Guyanese people need to have a government that respects the words that they tell us. And we, the people, need to hold government accountable. You would have made promises for these things. You need to deliver the things that you promised. So we are risking going backwards more than a generation.
Okay.
Because the continuation will not happen.
All right.
The continuation will not happen.
You don't think? Anything from you?
Yeah, I think it's simple. I think it's competence. I really, I could actually take off my political hat and say it objectively, that I think the team, you see, in our politics is interesting because we have to elect a team. So it's different from American politics. A lot of people watch Facebook and you vote for a president, but then you also go and you vote for a congressman and you vote for a senator and all these different people. These are it's set up differently. But here, in our country, you have to vote for a team of people, and you're not just thinking about the president, but you're thinking about who's on that team that can actually get the work done.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that that's the PPP. Given the transformative nature of development that we're seeing that has to happen, I think we risk slowing that down and even moving backwards. Because I don't think there's any political party, and I say this, I don't think anyone could challenge me on this. I don't think there's a political party right now in the country that has the complement of skills to be able to move the country forward in terms of what we need to do over the next 5 and over the next 10 years. And it's not just about, well, you'll have people who are passionate about their politics. You've got groups that people are aligned with. That's fair, I understand that. But if we're being honest and we look through the list, we're looking at, in the PPP, we're looking at experts in health, we're looking at economics. I mean, even look at our finance minister, Dr. Ashni Singh, and so many others in our party. We've mentioned Dr. Barjagya before. We looked at what our president's able to do in housing and so many different areas. But I also think the new people who are coming to the party itself, right? There are people who are coming with skills. I include myself in that list, and I'm looking at my colleague here as well, Mischka, right? Who bring skills, who've been doing work in the schools, working with children, understand these issues. I've been doing engineering for a really, really long time. Right, I had my PhD for a decade and a half, right? When I was a young person. So we've thought about these issues. We've thought about the history of the country. We've thought about the politics of the country, and we've thought about what needs to get done. Okay. So this is not a Kool-Aid thing, right? No. It's that we've seriously given thought to this, and I think that competence is what's going to drive
and
forward.
Dedication.
Yeah. If we don't have that, I think the car is going to park. And we're moving back.
And roll back.
Yeah, I think it's going to roll.
All right. How do you think the PPP policies affect or will benefit young people? You talked about the family just now. Is there a specific focus on the youth? And if so, can you speak to any of that at this time, Mischka?
Of course, we have to be focused on the youth. The future of our country depends on the youth.
And how do you think the PPP's policies benefit young people or will benefit? Because we're looking at the next 5 years.
It has already started.
Okay.
Through training.
Okay.
Through giving them access to this, whatever area they want to pursue their career in. They're getting access to that. They're also getting access far earlier to housing, to capital. If it is that they want to start their own business, they have their business plan. Businesses can happen. A part of the story that people are not really aware of. So within the Ministry of Social Services, you have the Women Leadership Institute. And Minister Prasad would have created the WIN program, the Women Initiative and Innovation Network. And through that program...
A real win.
Yes. Through that program, thousands of Guyanese women, some men as well, in that program receive training in early childhood, business, project management, and they also receive training in business preparation. So they were trained as to how to create the business plan. When they were finished and their plan was submitted, modifications made, they have a sound business plan, the government would have given them a grant to start that business, and they were supported. So when the president is talking about jobs for the youth, it was already piloted and it has been working. So imagine that project now on a larger scale throughout the 10 administrative regions of this beautiful 83,000 square mile country of ours.
I like that.
So it's there. The question is, the youths need to take the opportunities that are available for them. And it has nothing to do with if you are pro-PPP or not. Once you are born Guyanese, these opportunities are here for you.
Doc, you want to take it?
Yeah, I think I should. I deal with a lot of young people at the university. I think I understand young people. I think I understand what they're looking for. As young myself, I still consider myself young. I think it starts, I think you started it, education and training. I didn't have free education. My parents did a long time ago. Circumstances were different. You know, they had to go in the bush and all sorts of stuff to be able to get this thing. But today, you go, you get educated all the way up to the university, no questions asked, no price to pay other than to do well in the school and then move on. And it starts from CXE. I think that's tremendous. So there's opportunities to get educated, the gold program, all of these things. So when we're talking about being educated, there really, in my view, isn't a lot of barriers right now to getting educated, right? Really, that's up to the young person at this stage to say, what do I want? As a matter of fact, the president has talked about the absorptive capacity of educational institutions locally, where we're being flooded with students who are interested. I can tell you that I'm at the university, flooded with students who want to come and study. And so we have to start thinking about other universities. Where are they going to go? I had an uncle in my office the other day trying to get, his daughter into the engineering program, and I'm advising them on, which program to select and just trying to understand their needs. And he had a very important question for me. He says, "What are we going to do if they don't get in here?" These young people want to go on and study, right? They want to do things, and so I think we have to continue to create more opportunities, but I think the opportunities are being created. The ability to earn, right? Because once you're getting educated, I think they want to be independent, right? They want to pay their own phone bill, I hope, right? They want their independence. They want freedom. That's kind of what it is. I think there are opportunities now in the economy to do that, to work one job, to work two jobs, right? If you'd like, whether you want to stay with one or you want to go to two, you have the ability to earn while still getting your cash grant, right, in your pocket. But I think that there are so many opportunities. I get calls all the time as a dean of engineering. Can you send me so many engineers? Can you send me, companies are looking for young people. And I'm sure this is the same thing in many other areas, right? So job opportunities, I think, are definitely there. And then also you talk about entrepreneurship, right? So it's not just about working for others, but the opportunity to work for yourself. When the party talks about even a development bank and bringing that on stream, I think that's going to be something that's going to help a lot of young people, right? Continue. So there are many other areas here where I think young people can develop the kind of independence that they need, that they want to be able to build a life in the economy.
So let me ask you a ticklish question. What do you think, because there are other parties running, competing with the PPP, what do you think are some of the challenges your party has by way of getting its message across or fulfilling its promises, or pick one? But what objectively, what would you say are some of the challenges that your party has? Mr. Go ahead.
So you said fulfilling promises.
No, I said you could pick. You could come up with your own.
Yes, so I'm coming from that one first. I don't see that as a challenge because of the track record of the PPP.
Okay, so I'm wanting a challenge. I like what you did there. the educating you came out, and the teacher. What are some of the challenges?
Coming back to you. So the fact that the PPP fulfills its promises, it means that the government will work in spite of whatever conditions happen locally or internationally. That can taper what happens. They will work to ensure that the promises that they said they will deliver, they deliver. And they would have done that before. In relation to the message, our message is simple, it's clear, it's out there. We are having conversations. I have lost a few pounds since campaigning, because every afternoon I am out with the team that I'm working with, the Her Selling NDC team, and we're in the community.
I'm not going to get a challenge from you, I realize.
No. You stay right there.
I need a challenge. You're not giving me any challenge.
You're not listening,
I'm listening to you very intently, and I'm listening for a challenge.
So we would have had, when we go into the communities and we are interacting with persons, house to house.
Okay.
we speak with everyone.
Correct.
And right there, sometimes persons who are of a different political orientation sometimes engages us.
Correct.
And we share. This is what our party is about. This is what we do. Yes?
Right.
Some say, okay, let's take a read, or they want to engage us some more and have that conversation. We are open to having the conversation. Once people are, our challenge is we need people to listen. Once you listen, we can have that conversation with you.
Yeah.
And
I
we
like
have
that.
the evidence to show you that we're not coming to, as you said, sell Kool-Aid, or we're not selling things that are not present, things that you cannot see. I would have heard about this Demerara Bridge, and I'm seeing that bridge every day. That bridge alone is testament that, regardless of whatever challenge is there, this is the party and the government, and that is the team led by His Excellency Dr. Irfan Ali.
I'm not going to
that
get
will-
challenge out of me.
That will turn the challenge.
You first have got
Into
to identify
work
the challenge. So let me try. Kofi, tell me a challenge. What do you think a challenge is?
I think of two challenges. The first is, I think the party is moving so swiftly sometimes that I think sometimes we forget to communicate some things that are important. So I think some things get missed, because you talked about getting the message out. There's been a lot of focus in this period about development and building out infrastructure and so on. And then when we listen to people, they're like, look, slow down for a little bit. I need to understand how this is going to impact my life. And building a road sometimes, though it's important and it's going to increase commerce and business, sometimes there's a person there who just doesn't have it yet. They don't have the money in their pocket yet. They don't see and realize the benefit of that bridge yet. And so I think sometimes we have to slow down and be reminded, right, that it's going to take some time for everyone to begin to feel that. So sometimes we champion all the amazing things that are happening, but this is why I think going into the next phase, the party is starting to realize, and we talk about it, is, hey, we're doing the things to make people's lives better, but we haven't been really talking about how we do that. And so sometimes people think you're a little bit out of touch. I know when I talk a lot about infrastructure, I'm like, no, hold on a second. That bridge didn't put in much money in my pocket yet. You know what I mean? So I think we've got to get back to talking about some of the bread and butter issues on that. So I think that's one. But I think one of the biggest challenges is the misconceptions about the party. There's a lot of myth and misconceptions in the public about the party. And your question is about how does it get its message out? I think that there are a lot of detractors, a lot of individuals who maybe have been successful in some ways in communicating the wrong message about what this party is, who Dr. Irfan Ali is. I've been in the campaign trail, I've heard some things from people about, I'm saying, no man, not Irfan, I know Irfan since I was a little boy. So I could defend things like that, right? But I think sometimes in those circles, there are many people who have said things about the party that, you know how it is in social media, whether they're true or not, they go on, right? The negative media, negative news catches on. And I think people have to seriously start digging into that. So start thinking a little bit, right? Start thinking about your future. Stop allowing other people to sort of dictate for you how you must think, right, about what you see in the party. I think that's really what we are seeking, or the party is seeking to overcome, in terms of getting its message through to individuals. I think that's one of the challenges. It's overcoming the myth and overcoming, I don't want to say lies on your program, but overcoming the myths that sort of exist about the party.
Fair enough.
Breaking through that. Yeah.
So as we come to the top of the hour, I'm going to give both of you an opportunity to envision a person, maybe one of those people you meet in the campaign trail who is of a different party affiliation. And give us an idea of what would you say to someone who does not plan to vote for PPP. I'm making an elevator speech. You know what's an elevator speech, right? You have to finish the speech before you get to the floor. And I'm going to give you about 5 floors up. Now, I'm not going to give you the second floor. So what would you say to someone who says to you, Mischka, I don't like you, Miss, things, but the PPP, what the elevator speech that you can use to get someone to see the party through the lens through which you see it?
Give me 2 changes you would have seen in the last 2 years.
So you would ask them to do that, give you 2 changes.
What happened during COVID?
What happened during COVID?
How has your life changed in the last 2 years?
Okay.
Who is preparing? I'm still on floor 2. Who is preparing the country to make your children's dreams come true? The answer to that, to those questions altogether, leads to one party, the PPPC.
Good. Ding.
Yeah. So it depends on who I'm giving this elevator speech to, right? Because I think those who understand what the party is capable of doing are going to be solid. Like, it makes sense, like, to me. Somebody who's thinking, like you said, of voting for another party, I think this is what you have to do. You have to sit down and you have to think about this option. This is not a trivial option. This is running a country. We have little things where we decide who's going to be the head of the small group in a little community, you know, who's going to be deacon in the church, and that's probably very important. You know, who's going to be maybe even president of a company, CEO, that's a big decision. But then you go even higher. You said this is running a country. And regardless of how I might feel emotionally, or how my parents may have voted, or someone else may have voted, or someone is telling me to vote, and everyone is pressuring me, I think we have to stop for a second, let the noise die down, and think critically about this choice, right? And ask ourselves, who do we think today, not the emotional decision, but if you were sitting in a room and candidates were coming through in terms of asking, I want to run your country, what would you ask them about their capabilities? Not just about, you know, whether they like the country or whether they love the country and giving stump speeches. You want to ask them, what are your skills? Who's on your team? How are you going to do this? What are you going to do the first day on the job? Do you understand what an economy is? How are you going to make us look good overseas? How are we going to keep the border issue in check? How are we going to grow the economy, jobs? How am I going to get money in my pocket? I think we have to stop and think beyond that. And not just for ourselves. We think for ourselves, we think for our children, we think for our family. But how are we going to do that for the whole country, you know, just as a whole? And I think what's going to happen is you're going to find that some of the things that you may have been concerned about are going to start to fade away when you start to think about the real serious issues. This is not, as some people said on the trail, that dolly hose business, right? This is serious business. Mr. Jeffrey, we're talking about a country, we're talking about a president and people who have to go internationally and find ways to work with other countries, people who understand climate change, people who understand the environment, sea defense, Egypt. I can go on. That's what we're talking about. This is a serious decision and it shouldn't be taken lightly. And I think if you're honest about that, given the last 5 years, you will see the demonstration of competence. A lot of room for improvement as we grow as a country, but you see the competence necessary to lead the country forward.
Beautiful. All right. Well said. Okay. So let me give you each a chance to look into the camera and win a next vote. Look into the camera and give us a summation, appeal to somebody that you think needs to hear your story. So tell a personal story about the party with the intention of convincing somebody to vote for your party. I'll give you that opportunity.
Thank you for that. You are important. You matter. And you were blessed to be born Guyanese. The power of your ex is life-changing. as Kofi said, it's not something for you to take lightly. It is something for you to really reflect on. You are not only voting for yourself, you are voting for the country, the future of this country, not for just the next 5 years, but the future to infinity, because this moment in time determines where we will go.
Thank you. Kofi?
Yeah. As a Guyanese, as a young Guyanese, someone who has always wanted the best for our country, who's always believed in the potential of the country, what it can do, what it can be. As I said before, there is this dream of Guyana that we've always talked about, and we have a real opportunity here to do that. And I think we're at a pivotal moment in our history. I think this election is critical because I think it's a make it or break it for Guyana. If we make the wrong decision here, this is going to set us back. And we've seen examples of countries that have gone to the wayside, even with lots of resources. We don't want to get this wrong. And I know there are many people out there who are probably still struggling. We don't feel yet the benefit of the development that's happening. There are many people out there who may want to continue to vote along the lines that their family, maybe their grandparents and others have voted. But I think in this pivotal moment, we are called upon to stop and to think, not just about what they would have done, but what we need to do for our country to move our country forward. And I think that's the mindset that we need to have when we go to these elections. Not just about the passion, not just about I'm upset, I didn't get what I need, but we have to begin to think beyond even our own circumstances and say, who's got the best team to be able to do this and move our country forward? I've stepped onto this because I want to make my country better. I've had the opportunity to get a lot of gifts from this country, and I've always believed in the pledge. I want to use that, dedicate my energies for the prosperity and to better Guyana. And so I think I'm calling on others to do just that, to stand up for your country and to move forward. And I think this is the best team to be able to do that with. I think this is a critical make it or break it. We don't want to get this wrong. I think we've got to vote for the PPPC.
Thank you. Kofi? Yeah. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Mischka? Thank you, my sister. I want to thank you very much for joining me on Elections Insights. Remember that you can contact the office. This program is open to any political party who would like to sit in the hot seat and answer a few questions to sell the concept of your party. So until next time, God bless you. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.